Fans were shocked when the New York Yankees announcer proclaimed that Lou Gehrig would not be starting at first base and that he would also be ending his baseball career. Lou Gehrig could not find the strength to play the game he loved for the first time in his career. Gehrig was an outstanding player, however, he began to lose all of his athletic abilities due to a terrible disease. Gehrig ended his incredible career as he was diagnosed with a rare form of degenerative disease known as amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or ALS for short. It is also better known as Lou Gehrig's disease in the baseball player's honor. Today, this American hero and Hall of Famer is recognized as the face and fight against ALS. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis causes the nerve cells in the body to die, which leads to an individual to eventually becoming paralyzed. This disease only comes down to death, and the days are numbered for those who unfortunately obtain this horrendous illness. It is a progressive neurodegenerative disease that affects nerve cells in both the brain and the spinal cord. ALS causes motor neurons to degenerate until they perish, which leads to the inability of the brain to control muscle movement. As this disease progresses, the brain loses total contact with the motor neurons, causing the individual to no longer have control over their muscles. The muscle neurons can no longer send impulses to the muscle fibers, causing a disappearance of muscle movement. Muscles begin to experience atrophy as the cells deteriorate and lose use. With furthering of the disease, an individual will eventually experience total paralysis of the body. According to an article by E. Boomis, once diagnosed with ALS, individuals usually live on average for another 3 to 5 years. It is estimated that around 30,000 Americans suffer from amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, with 70,000 worldwide and 5,000 diagnosed each year. That being said, it is noted that ALS is very rare. The most common cause of death from ALS is respiratory failure. This disease also causes difficulty with speech, swallowing, breathing. Although it seems strange for ALS to affect the respiratory rate, it can affect it because we have the ability to hold our breath, thus making it a voluntary action, controlled by the brain, which when this occurs can no longer communicate with the motor neurons, allowing breathing to take place. Those who have trouble breathing may require a tracheostomy to be done, which is a surgically created hole in the neck leading to the trachea. This allows a respirator to inflate and deflate their lungs for the individual. Some people with ALS have issues making decisions and even have issues pertaining to their memory. Although ALS is still not provided with answers or a cure, it is known that it only affects the muscle neurons that provide voluntary movement, as in skeletal muscle. This means cardiac muscle in the heart and smooth muscle lining in the digestive system are not affected by ALS because these muscles are provided in voluntary movements. According to the Mayo Clinic, who diagnosed Gehrig, ALS can be caused by a number of potential factors, which include gene mutation, chemical imbalances, disorganized immune responses, and protein mishandling. The Mayo Clinic has found that 1 in 10 cases of ALS are inherited, and various genetic mutations lead to inherited forms of the diseases. Furthermore, those with ALS tend to have higher levels of glutamate, which is a chemical messenger to the brain, which can be toxic to nerve cells. In some cases, the accumulation of abnormal protein causes the nerve cells to die as well, according to the Mayo Clinic. There is no way to prevent ALS from occurring yet, but doctors are trying to develop drug techniques in an attempt to slow the progression of the disease down. According to ALS Association, the only FDA-approved drug on the market to slow the degradation of ALS is Relutech. This drug works by reducing the levels of glutamate in an individual's, which may help the brain's ability to communicate with motor neurons. Other drugs prescribed are used to tone down the symptoms that come with ALS, which include fatigue, pain, depression, excessive salivation, and constipation. There are a number of therapies one can participate in that help cope with the disease. Physical therapy can be done to maintain cardiovascular fitness, muscle strength, and range of motion while the disease progresses. Occupational therapy can aid one becoming acquainted to the devices now required, such as a brace, walker, or a wheelchair that is designed to make mobilizing easier. Speech therapy is also available to help the person communicate, as ALS progressively makes it more difficult to speak fluently. With the help of technology, people diagnosed with ALS can use text-to-speech on an iPad, which allows them to communicate once the skill of speech is diminished from their body. Other complications with ALS include difficulties eating, breathing, and experiencing dementia. When a person has a problem swallowing, they become vulnerable to malnutrition and dehydration. These particular individuals may require a feeding tube so food and liquid do not build up in the lungs, causing pneumonia. There are several ways to test for ALS, some being ways to weed out other possible diseases. An electromyogram and a nerve conduction study can be performed to test the electrical nerve signals your brain puts out towards your muscle. An MRI can also be done to analyze the brain and spinal cord activity according to the Mayo Clinic. Also, blood and urine tests can be given, as well as a muscle biopsy that can be performed in case the individual may not be experiencing ALS. Doctors and scientists are still searching for a cure for this disease that has overtaken so many individuals. Until this disease is cured, many people would be diagnosed and die from this tragic sickness. No one wants to go through this disease, much less see another go through it. To raise money in hopes of finding a cure, many people around the world participated in the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, which brought in so many donations to support the researchers in finding a cure. This challenge required an individual to have ice water poured over them, temporarily giving them a minute's worth of shock or a sense of paralysis, much like the side effects of ALS. In conclusion, ALS is a horrendous disease that everyone is hoping they find a cure for. This disease not only takes a person's freedom, but it also takes their lives as well. Thank you.